My name is Patrick Tellerico, and I am the Sustainability Manager for the City of Palm Springs currently. And so I wanted to welcome everybody today. We're here today to remember and celebrate the city's former Sustainability Manager, Michele Mician, by dedicating this community garden in her honor. We're especially pleased to have her mother and her brother here with us today. We came all the way out from Florida. And I have to tell you, before I start some of my remarks, as we were getting ready for this event yesterday and cleaning things up and organizing things, there was this most beautiful orange and red bird that was following me around the entire time. I've never seen anything like it before, and I haven't seen it yet today. So I feel like she was sort of here helping us out. With that, this effort has been in the works since before I arrived, which was back in January. And one of the questions I was asked was, what are the criteria for naming something after somebody? And so I said, well, I don't really know, and I still don't actually know if there are any official criteria. But if I were to reverse engineer it from what I know of Michele, I would have two. And so the first one is they must have been a catalyst for lasting and positive changes in our community. And certainly Michele fit that bill. You can just easily look around the city and see all of our bike infrastructure, our EV chargers, this community garden, all of these things that she was really a catalyst for and really worked to bring about. And so she certainly had some incredible and lasting changes brought about to the city. Second, they must have brought light to the lives of the individuals that they met along the way. And so certainly anybody that met Michele felt that, felt her presence. Even though I only met her a couple of times years ago, I certainly knew instantly of her energy and her passions, and it was certainly, it permeated everyone that she met as well. And so every time I mentioned her name in getting ready for this, the positivity and the good energy that people brought back as soon as I mentioned her name was amazing. And so so we are here today, and there are lots of others that could not be here today, like Councilmember Middleton, as well as our current Sustainability Chair, Roy Clark. But everybody sends their best wishes and positive wishes for this event and for Michele's memory. Although Michele had many accomplishments, this garden is a fitting place for a dedication. It was not only one of her first projects, but it was also one that brought together three of her key passions, from what I understand, which is community, health, and of course sustainability. And so it's not only a place where people can grow healthy food and sustain themselves, but it's also a place where people can commune and gather and create together. So it's quite a fitting place for us to do this, and we're very excited to be here today. Before we do the official dedication, I wanted to turn it over to David Reddy to say a few words from the city, and then we're going to open it up to a couple other folks that are in the audience today before we get to Mayor Kors and the dedication. So, David.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm David, City Manager, and first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. It's lovely to have her mom and brother. I've heard a lot about you over the years. And I think it's very sort of emotional for me here today because this was a dream of Michele's. And I remember when Michele first came to Palm Springs, and it was quite a thing because Michele was a force of life of her own, as we knew. And I remember after we had our interview process, and she was really excited to have this job. She came back, I think it was the second interview, and we went afterwards I was ready to offer the job, and we went to, I think, Blue Coyote and had margaritas, one of her favorite places. And I did my best to talk her out of taking the job because I said to Michele, now, there's nothing here in terms of infrastructure. We have no sustainability program. It's going to be hard work. You're going to have to do it all on your own. There's all kinds of things to be done. There's not a whole lot of budget. There's so many issues. Oh, and by the way, there's no staff, but you. And of course, in perfect form for Michele, none of those challenges even fazed her. She was ready to go, and she did go. And there's so many things. Her fingerprints are all over the city in so many ways, and this is just one of them. But it'd be very, very fitting to name this after her, so it really makes us really pleased to do so. And over the years, there was always a couple things about Michele. She would always be, you'd look up, she'd be sticking her head in the office door, say, "Oh, David, I have an idea to do this." And then next day, "I have an idea to do that." And do any of you remember when the llamas came to City Hall? So Michele was very creative. She had a passion for this work, and she changed this city in ways that most of us as employees don't really get to do. The lasting kinds of things that will be in her memory. So we're very pleased that you're able to join us, and thank you all for coming. I see so many of her friends here. It's just a great day to think about and reflect on Michele. And if you notice in the back, there's a little peaceful geodome. She helped me get in there just to sit and reflect. And that was all part of Michele. So anyway, thank you. And Patrick, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, David. So we have a couple of our past Sustainability Commission chairs here, and I'm going to ask Brett Klein to say a few words. Brett was chair whenever Michele started and was one of the folks that was involved with this garden.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Welcome, everybody and the family. Everybody, good to see you finally in person, as opposed to just Facebook. Yeah, this, as everybody has alluded to, this truly was a stake in the sand, a shovel in the dirt. We looked at this. I mean, I joined sustainability in 2009 as Michele was being hired, hadn't even been to her first meeting yet. And she came in, as David said, as a force of nature. I had never understood as much as I've learned to become and knowledge on, and still a fraction of what she knew about sustainability and practices. Things about water, things about bees, things about all the things that I kind of poo-pooed and said, do we need to think about that? I'm all about cycling. She's like, yeah, but you cycle past all these green areas and these trees and the grass and the water and the dirt and the this and the wind and the factor. And it was like, oh my God, there was just, it's a force of nature. And the thing I loved about it, we would have late night meetings, and we'd have our meetings in sustainability, and then we would have follow-up meetings, and we'd have follow-up on follow-up on follow-up meetings. So this garden, from day one, we had isolated, 3 or 4 properties in the city, and this is one that just made natural sense. And we would come over here kind of like in the dusk of day, and so city staff wouldn't know we're here, and we would kind of look at what we could possibly do in a vacant lot and how we would sell it and how we could go in and convince the city that, yes, this is an area that we want to open to the community and have them come and build upon the legacy of what we would build here. And you can see it today. I mean, it was started as just wood containers. Now we have brick, we have shade structures, we have everything that she was looking down right now and saying, oh my God, this is amazing. But can we add this over there? Where's the drinking fountain? There's always another piece, which we adored about Michele. Well, we started Psychedelic, the first nighttime bike activity with live music and engaging the community. There's so many things. I don't know how many miles of roadway and for bike infrastructure we have in the city now, but it's all because Michele believed in the passion of health and fitness and health and wellness, not only just from what you physically see as wellness, but internal, your mental wellness, regardless of your age, regardless of your capability. It was all about being healthy from A to Z, top to bottom. And so this garden and the things that will grow here and the birds that will come and the bees that will pollinate and all the things that happen are truly going to be an epitome of everything Michele lived and stood for in her breath. And we're all very fortunate. I said I had 6 years of commission with her and countless hours. I traveled with her, and one of the things is a fun piece of Michele, as we all know, is you would take her, not that there would be alcohol involved, but if there was music playing, she was dancing. And she was constantly the first person that if somebody wasn't engaging, she would be like, "Hi, I'm Michele. What do you do? What's your passion? What are you doing in health and wellness?" And it's all that stuff that I challenge and encourage everybody to share, that part of yourself with others you see as well. Today, everyone here loves the spirit of the woman we're honoring, and the fact that the people who are coming here may not even know who she was, but they're going to take advantage of picking that piece of fruit and watching it prosper and watching it grow. And that's the legacy that this garden will bring. So thank you for being here. And with that, I think Patrick is off to Joseph.
So I'm going to turn it over to Joe Jackson to say a few words. Joe was until recently the chair of the Sustainability Commission.
It is just great to look out and see all the faces of people who were a part of the community that Michele created. I want you to turn around and look. Some of you, just look at each other for a moment. Some of you worked with Michele professionally at the city. Some of you were volunteers. Some of you served on city commissions. The smiles that she brought as she created those communities of people as we all worked together. And I had the joy of working with her for about 4 years, first as a commissioner, serving with Brett, and then succeeding him as chair. And when I think about Michele, when I thought about the couple of things I wanted to say, 2 words, which we've already heard, just popped into my mind. The first one was passion, and the second one was energy. Those 2 words epitomize the life of Michele. She was so passionate about all things sustainable. And as Dr. Reddy, our city manager, said, she was always full of ideas. Right away, as I became a commissioner, she said, I think in the city of Palm Springs, we ought to have backyard chickens. Everybody ought to be able to have eggs. They ought to be able to get fresh eggs in their backyard. Okay, now we have to study this. And okay, who's the low person on the totem pole? I get assigned to study backyard chickens. The last time I had touched a chicken was when I was 5 years old at my grandparents' farm. So we had a great time doing all of those sorts of things. And then it was bees, because she would just come up with all of these new ideas. The desert landscaping that she promoted, and because of the water conservation issues that we needed to address. The electric vehicle charging stations, which she would go out and get grants. She got more grants than her salary, that more than equaled her salary for all of those electric vehicle charging stations. Promoting local sustainable food systems with the community, the farmers market. Bike routes, as Brett said. And of course, one thing that she started, the Mayor's Race and Wellness Festival, that drew hundreds of community members together for a race and a walk. And not only that, they learned about all of the community health resources, and we raised money for a number of organizations in the city. Michele's energy was unparalleled, the second point, her energy. She was like the proverbial juggler who just kept all of these things in the air. Most of us couldn't keep up, just as we couldn't keep up with her if we went biking with her or running with her or hiking with her. I join all of you this day in honoring Michele's memory and the joy that she brought to our work together. Thank you.
So before I turn it over to Mayor Coors, I just want to invite anybody else in the audience from the community. If anybody else wants to say a few words, you are welcome to do so at this time. Sure, come on up.
I'm Molly Thorpe, and I'm very proud to say that Michele and I were just wonderful, wonderful friends. And all of these things you've heard, she would share on a one-to-one level. She and I hiked to the top of the tram. We ran thousands of miles together. She shared her heart with me. She changed me from a vegetarian to a vegan. But most of all, she's here with me today and forever because she touched the lives of so many people, and just didn't touch them and leave them, but she's a part of me, and she made me a better person, and I want to carry her message. I just love Michele, and I always will.
Well, I had a little fall, so I'm learning to balance again. Boy, it's colder where we are. Thank you. I hope I can get through this with dry eyes. First of all, is Dr. Mician and Rudy, where are you? Oh, there you are. Well, she spoke of you all so much. Oh, you know what? I have my little notes in that coat pocket. Sorry. Okay. I think it's here. Okay. So I'm Estelle Foster, and Michele Mician was a most dear, dear, tender friend. She loved Palm Springs, and she loved what she was doing. She loved being sustainability manager. It gave her the joy of her life to be able to create healthy and happy places. And as her mother said, wherever you plant her, she will grow. She told me that her mother said that to her. And I experienced that with her because she grew in every way. So I want to appreciate the city and the mayor and all of the community who are here to honor her, and those in the community who are benefiting from all that she's done. You know, she was a dear spirit, and her spirit will forever be tattooed on my heart. I miss her so frequently. I mean, she was an angel, and probably from another planet. I've never met anyone else like her. You know, she had the innocence to not pay any attention to the naysayer blockers. She just went forth. She was vigilant and unstoppable to make healthier and happier communities. One of the greatest things that I loved about her was her ability to let go, was the ability to delegate. She incentivized by example, and she supported people who had creativity, innovation, and she just wound them up and said, go, and they did wonderful things. And one of the things that she has done was to create this lovely park. And Johnny Foster, my husband, who's an organic horticulturist, and I worked with her on street trees. We talked about actually doing fruit street trees so that it would be, as my dad used to say, plant something that gives back. And so we worked on that with her. We worked on the wellness project. We consulted, collaborated with her. And so I'm just going to refer to here for a minute. One of the things that she encouraged Johnny to do, because he was already providing grow your own backyard workshops in Palm Springs and Palm Desert and La Quinta. So she encouraged it here, and actually he's given some of the workshops actually here in this beautiful park. She said, what do you think about planting a children's garden at the library? And Johnny said, I'll do it. And he did it. And we're so proud of it, because the little kids would pick a tomato and be able to know what it is and go in and show their mother. It was a lovely time. So, you know, all of these words are words, but the feeling is so deep and so great, it's profound. She was a one-in-a-lifetime woman. And I just want her spirit and her energy and her vitality and her persistent, dogged, unstoppable, wanting better for the greater good to continue. And so, should we do that for her? Yeah, let's do it for Michele. So, thank you all. Oh, and I publish this magazine, and so I think we have a few of them if you'd like to. I know, Rudy, you've seen them, and Doctor, you've seen them as well. But if you'd like to have one of these, they're here for you, limitedly. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I think I can. I always like to try and manage it myself, but I can't.
All right, anybody else? Yes, Philippe.
Hi, everybody. I'm Felipe Primero. I work in the Engineering Services Department at the city. And my first memory of Michele is she was in a council meeting, and I was, for some reason, in the AV room. And she comes in with tears in her eyes and just with this crushed look on her face. And I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "Oh, the city manager didn't like one of my ideas." You know, she was just in tears. I go, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she's not going to make it. There's no way. You know, you need to be a little bit tougher. And she proved me wrong. I mean, look at all she accomplished in the time she was here. The bike racks downtown and the garden and the chargers for the cars that we need more of. City manager. And so, but, her passion drove her vision. And I think that's what we need to do as well. You know, we need to keep that vision in our hearts and do whatever we can to forward what she started. So, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Thanks, everyone, for sharing those thoughts. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to Mayor Jeff Coors to actually do the dedication. These are the flags that are actually on the post side.
We'll put it here just up. Really want to thank everyone for coming out today, and this is such a beautiful garden and tribute for Michele's amazing work. But before I read that, just, everyone's touched on her incredible energy, her passion. But Michelle's also really smart and incredibly clever to get things done, which is not always easy in any government entity. And although I knew Michele before I was elected, after I got elected, I set up meetings with a lot of our senior staff to talk about what they're doing, what their priorities were. And when I went to see Michele, we started, of course, having this great conversation, all of her ideas. I was sharing ideas. And she kept saying, but we don't have the money for that, or, I don't think we can get that done. And as I'm leaving, she goes, would it be okay if I gave you one piece of advice? I said, please, please. She goes, get on the budget committee and help me. And by the way, and that's exactly what I did. And because Michele would always find a way. She'd find a grant. She'd advocate for a project. She'd look for someone to help her. I mean, unstoppable was such a great description someone used, because no was never an answer that she took. She was going to figure out a way to get it done. And she brought all of us into her world to do that. And so while this and so many other projects are her legacy, I think
the ongoing effort in this city around sustainability and the environment really come from her. And so that continues, and it's just a great tribute to all she did to enhance all of our lives and the community, and of course, help our planet in every way she could think of. So thank you all for being here, and we will read the dedication that is on the plaque. So this community garden was named in memory of Michele C. Mician, Sustainability Manager for the City of Palm Springs between 2009 and 2016. Her life and work inspired residents and left a lasting impact on the health and environmental well-being of our city. So this will be a lovely, lasting tribute to our beloved Michele. So thank you very much. I want to give you these.
So thank you, Mayor. And I believe that Michele's mom wanted to say a few words before we let y'all go.
I want to thank the mayor and all the people from the city and everybody who helped to arrange this. And thanks to all her friends and all her co-workers, because she loved them all very much. And really what Michele regret most, that she left Palm Springs. It was really funny what I heard about here. You know, you could not tell Michele never know, because she always finds a way that she convinces you yes. And her first thing was what I can remember when she was in first grade and I was in the military and we went for the skiing trip and put her into skiing school, and she was really little from all the children who were there. And kids like her, and she missed one of the pole, you know, they had red and blue, and she went the other way, and they screamed, Michele, Michele, you missed it, go the other way. So she stepped up back and went the right way. Of course, she didn't get the first prize because she thought she can beat Rudy, and she got second prize. Or that didn't stop her, because when they gave her award, Michele looked at it and she go, I don't want a second prize. I want the first prize. And she like turned around and she didn't want to accept it, you know. And I was saying, you know, I seen all in Europe they talk, Americans kids are brats. And I go, if I have kids like that, I spank their butt. And here I'm sitting there, and Michele is on podium, and she put her foot down and she said, if I don't get the first place, I get my dad to buy it. And from there it went on, you know, she did a lot of things with gardening and with animals, and she was in the first class in Tampa, what was environmental class. And so she went into Costa Rica for the trip and into Washington to start studying for it, and she got accepted. And from there it went, you know. And she was very good in it, you know. And yes, if she could not convince you, she finds a way. And she would cry and do anything just to convince people that she can do it. And that is why we call her not the drama queen, but she was like a super drama queen. So again, I don't want to make it too long, but I really appreciate that everybody came here, and she loved this group very much. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming out. I know this meant a lot to Rudy and his mom, and all of the community that really worked with and knew Michele throughout the years. So I appreciate everybody coming out. So thank you all for coming, and we really, really appreciate it.